David here from G4 Guitar, David Hart. What I want to do in this presentation is show you how the G4 guitar method works from the point of view of a teacher. So understanding how you're going to put it all together, how it's going to be applied in your classes, and really just give you a good overview so that you can get started. And I'm assuming that you're new to G4 guitar when you're looking at this, so you're really not that sure about how it works. So let's have a look here first. What we've got here is there's several PDFs. The first one here is called the G4 Guitar Method, and that's the method. The one we're looking at here is the 2012 version, Method 2012. There's a reading, there's a rhythm, and I've also got another one, Theory, which I'll bring in a minute. And then we've got what we call the checklists, and that's this kind of thing here. So first of all, what we're going to do is look at the method itself, and then I'm going to show you how it works with the checklists. So let's go here, and we'll start here with the method. I'll bring the checklist in a little bit so you can see it as well. So the method, what you want to do is you want to print this out. You want to give your students a copy of the method in a folder, nicely set up and ready to go. Now the method starts off, that first page there, by the way, is the cover page. You put that in the front of a folder just so it has a nice cover, and then what you do is you move on to this. This is what they will see on the inside cover. So you can put this on the inside cover, or you can put it as a page in the student's sheet. You can even put it on the front if you like, if it makes it easier for you. And here you're going to put in the student name, the start date, so you want to know when they start, and they want to know when they start because it gives you a timeline, something to work with. Put your name in there because there's nothing worse than a student who doesn't know your name. You might have said your name once or twice to them, but they didn't really catch it. By writing your name in there, it saves that embarrassment. And it's really important to make sure they know who you are because they're going to talk about you to their parents, to friends, etc. So knowing your name is a big one. Put in your location, just so if their folder ends up somewhere, winds up somewhere, the location is on it. Now, put your phone number in here and your email address so they can contact you. This is for them to be able to contact you, and also if the student's folder gets lost, then somebody can call you and let you know. My practice schedule. This is where you're going to write the students' times that they're planning on practicing, and if you set times, it'll really make it easy for them and easy for you. So just write in the roughly what times are Monday 4 to 5, Tuesday 6 to 7, whatever. Try and keep it consistent if you can, but that's the idea. These 4 little pictures here: practice, posture, checklist, technique. They're kind of the 4 main areas of the G4 guitar method. That, as you see, is the practice log down there, and that's what they want. You want them filling that in. This is, I won't talk about this here, but it's a secret weapon, if you like, of your teaching and the G4 guitar method. Make sure your students are filling in that practice log. Children and adults. Adults might be a little bit harder to convince them to use it, but we'll talk about that in your teacher training. The posture, this is how students should sit. This is the classical position, as you can see. I personally believe all students should learn to sit like this because it maximizes their ability to play difficult passages. You won't see great guitar players sitting in the rock position playing very difficult pieces. It's almost impossible to do. So teach them this if you can and get them to stick to it, but at the very least show them how it's done. The checklist is what we're going to look at shortly, and then technique. It's really important. We focus on technique. That's really the core of the G4 guitar method, is developing good technique and skills. And this is fundamental. It doesn't matter what songs they play, where they go. If you get the technique and you get those fundamentals right, then they will end up a great player. Think of it like the snowball effect. You start off on the top of the hill. If you start off with the right kind of technique, as they increase in speed and size, as the snowball increases, then everything gets bigger and stronger. If you start off with bad technique, then you just get worse. Really, it's not a good way to go. So really, we're here about the G4 guitar method, and our method of teaching is about getting good technique, developing those habits. So minimum practice per day for 4 to 6 year olds, you're looking at 10 minutes, 7 to 12 year olds 20 minutes, teens and adults 30 minutes. That's roughly what you're aiming for. That's a minimum. Okay, this is the second sheet. You're going to put this in the folder. You're just talking about the stay tuned is not actually in the tune of the guitar, but just staying in tune with what we're talking about and doing, telling them to join us on Facebook or Google or our website, letting them know. Getting your students involved in what we do is really important because it keeps them in the loop, and it also adds value to what you're doing. They feel they're a part of something bigger. It makes them feel like this is great value. It's something special. If they go to any other guitar teacher, they won't get most of this. They won't get all the support and all the extras and the kind of the social effect of what we offer. So really important. These are the skills. So the 7 skills that we're really looking at: picking, chords, arpeggios, scales, rhythm, reading, and the oral. And we also add theory in there as well, but oral is the main skill there, of course. Songs, current songs, that were just a couple of points there. Their ultimate song list, writing a list. It's really important that they write a list of the songs that they want to learn, because that helps you as a teacher to understand who they are and what they're about. It also shows them that you're interested and care about what they want to learn. You're not necessarily going to teach them the songs that they want to learn, but just the fact that they write it down and make you aware then gives you examples that you can use and you can pull from as you do your lessons. So having that list is really important. The points to remember, make sure you take them through each of the points. Practice log, always record in your log. Really important. Slowly, start off everything slowly with a metronome. If you can't play slowly with a metronome, don't try and play it fast. Mirror, avoid looking directly at your hands. Use a mirror. This helps them to get good posture, good technique, because they're looking at themselves from a mirror image, which also helps them when they're watching people on stage to be able to look at a professional guitarist on stage doing something and be able to understand what they're doing. Routine, stick to a schedule. I like to talk about forming the habit and keeping up that routine. Put a do not disturb sign on your door. Just make sure they practice somewhere quiet. Be patient. Make sure that your results, you don't expect results to come immediately. Take your time, let it happen slowly. Stay motivated. So by joining the G4 Guitar Facebook blog groups, etc., they will stay motivated. They'll see reasons. We'll write blogs on motivation, but we'll also on Facebook, getting connected with other students really helps with the motivation. Sticking to the program, very important, and referring to the skills in the song, so making sure they're practicing the skills primarily as well as working on some of their songs. Okay, so that's that one. Now the next thing is understanding the G4 guitar method. This really just breaks down a few things that they need to know, such as the levels, and that having levels gives them very clear goals to work towards. And not having, if you don't have levels, which a lot of teachers don't, they just teach randomly from songs and skills, it really doesn't give students a clear understanding of what they're trying to achieve. So they end up with all this kind of bits of information with no real connection from one week to another. And even though some teachers might get on a theme for a couple of weeks, then they drift off onto something else, and it really doesn't give students any clear direction. And that's where the the levels make it very clear as to what the goal is. The daily practice sheet, as we just reviewed back up there, this keeps them on track. It keeps them remembering what to do and what's important, what skills are to be practiced on a daily basis. Doesn't mean, by the way, that they practice every skill on that list every day. Just means that they should be aware of cycling through those skills. Checklists, as I said, we're going to look closer at that in a little while, and we're going to go through what a checklist is and how it works. But the checklist is basically the levels and the way that you're going to actually monitor the progress of your students, and they can monitor their progress as well. And then the practice log. This is very important. I can't stress this enough. This helps students to see how they're progressing, what they're putting into the guitar in terms of time and the actual investment of minutes. And this is a really important part of their learning. Okay, so a little bit more there, understanding about focusing on skills, staying motivated, monitoring student progress, and continual upgrading. Just have a read of that yourself. And that all goes into their folder. And then there's a sheet on each skill. So what you want to do is you start with this sheet and point out the important areas, such as the technique. Brace your right hand, hold the pick firm at 90 degrees, begin in slow motion. Medium picks are preferable to no soft picks. So, and then it lays out the 5 exercises. And these are the exercises you're going to introduce them to one at a time. In the introduction, don't give them all of the exercise. Just start with the first one there and just get them to do that for a week. And then in the second week, you can have a look at the second one and so forth. You don't even have to go that quickly. You can just stick to the first one for a couple of weeks. But whatever you do, don't give them all 5 exercises in one go. That will just overwhelm them. You just want them to work on picking one exercise. What we're trying to do here is develop a habit of picking or a habit of practicing and the kind of things that they need to do in each and every lesson. So here there's some remember points, listening, things to listen to, and some comments down the bottom. So there's just, I won't go through every one, but you can see if you print each of these out, you give the students a sheet on each and every skill that they're going to be covering. You spend, in each lesson, you're going to cover 2 skills. So in your introduction in 5 weeks, just work through 2 skills at a time. You'll have covered it all in the 4 weeks, leaving you the 5th week to review. So we'll go through that a little bit later. And you can see there's a sheet on each and every skill. And then there's a whole section here on practice, which I advise you go through. Have a look at that, it's really important. And then we've got a sheet here on performance, talking about how what they need to do to get themselves performing. And then there's some extra information at the bottom here, downloads, getting help and feedback, and staying in the loop. Okay, so I'm just going to stop this here. We're going to do another video in just a minute, and this one will get you started on the G4 guitar method itself. So get all that printed out and get it ready for your students in your folder, and then we'll have a look at the supplementary material, including the checklists. See you shortly.